We are joined by Greg Flynn, who is our fire chief here in West Bloomfield, and he joins us now on the Splash Live. Greg will be here in just a second, but he is just back from Washington, D.C. In fact, he arrived late yesterday afternoon at a conference we're going to hear all about, and a conference where they were celebrating, honoring, and our first responders from around the country. We're all meeting, I'm sure, to share information, recognize those people that are making a big difference, and to do what fire guys and gals do when they get together. Joining us now, Greg Flynn from our West Bloomfield Fire headquarters here in West Bloomfield. Greg, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning, Dave. Good to be with you.
Well, thank you. I assume you had a safe and enjoyable trip to Washington, D.C.
I did. Maybe a little bit of an unknown fact here for our residents. I have the very fortunate honor of representing the state of Michigan through the International Association of Fire Chiefs Great Lakes Division. That's all of the states that touch the Great Lakes. I represent the state of Michigan on that, so that affords me some opportunities to attend some of these legislative type initiatives, especially at the federal level there in D.C. with some of my other colleagues from Michigan. I had Chief Joe Murray out of Dearborn and Chief Chris Stockline with me from Canton Township. So it was really a great visit.
All right, one of my favorite things when I was a student at West Bloomfield Schools is when the AV guy, usually me, rolled in the projector. I knew it was going to be a lot of fun. Okay, this is going to be an easy day. We don't have to take notes. We're going to watch a movie. So it's kind of movie day here on the Splash Live. We've got your pictures, and maybe you could take us through them because it was fascinating just looking at them. And we haven't had time to talk, so I thought if we just post them here, you can tell us tell us a little bit about your trip and what you experienced through the pictures that you were kind enough to bring with you today.
Well, first of all, the process starts months and months out, and here you have our Congresswoman, Haley Stevens, and what an advocate for the fire service and all of public safety within our community. And, with all the redistricting and things that have gone on, all of the members of Congress have been moved around. But she was a great visit. She was our first visit to start the day. And just her staff was very pleasant. We talk about initiatives like the Next Generation 911 and funding, national funding for the opportunities for education at the National Fire Academy, and initiatives on electric vehicles and charging stations and how the fire service interacts with that.
Well, very good, and she's not the only person you interacted. Let's just keep taking you through the slides. We don't want to see me; I want to see your pictures. So Jared's gonna hit the next one, and you can just continue to take us through the slideshow.
Sure, Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, and again, just first of all, we ranked her as the best office, the brightest, and of course, all these fire chiefs were partial to the red walls that we were surrounded by during her meeting. But just a very warm welcome from Congresswoman Dingell, and very much in tune with the language of the fire service. I know when she was again I think it was in Chief Murray's district for a bit, but has been into engine houses and had lunch with the firefighters, and just again another advocate for us. So some of these were not too confrontational, right? The members of Congress were very supportive of the initiatives to continue federal funds for local fire departments here in Michigan.
All right, we'll head on to your next picture, but real quick, I always enjoy seeing Debbie Dingell, and I miss seeing her husband at the Mackinac Policy Conference, which I'll be at next week, a huge event put on by the Greater Detroit Chambers. So a lot of these political folks will have a chance to see them, and hopefully I'll bring some of that back to West Bloomfield myself. All right, here you are in our nation's capital one more time. Let's take a look.
So, yep, Rashida Tlaib, Congresswoman, what a great visit with her. Interesting, there was a call for a vote, and so staff had to take us down, and we met just outside of the congressional chambers there, and she was just very warm and welcoming, and we talked about issues and had some great conversation with her. I think that's one of the points about these visits, Dave, and things that you see probably here on the Splash is we get the most value when we talk to each other instead of about each other, right? And so we had a great conversation out there. And she said, "This is my favorite place to take pictures, with the Capitol in the background." And we couldn't agree with her more. And we were very grateful for her time, for all of the members of Congress. I mean, they are so busy moving in and out of voting on different policies and getting briefs and taking time for folks from back home that are in town visiting like we were.
All right, I'm hitting the button. Let's see what's the next. Oh, look at that. The Capitol Dome, of course.
Yeah, so in between, we were moving through with staffers, and there just was some times where we're like, "Hey, we just need to pause here." It's been, I've been to the Capitol many times, but always in awe of the beauty and the history that's there. With George Washington right there in the center, up there in the image, absolutely beautiful.
All right, do we have any more, Jared? Yep, there we go. A few more.
Alyssa Slotkin, again, a CIA background. With the Congresswoman, always open to honest conversations. And we spent a lot of time talking about her approach to really reaching across the aisle and being collective and working together, whether it's an R or a D in front of your name, that it's very important to do the people's work, and an advocate that she is for doing that. And she is such an easy conversationalist. Very much enjoyed our time with her. And there we were in the Rayburn room. Again, there was some voting going on. And so we were able to meet with her, not in her office, but we're just down from the minority leader's office. And that was pretty cool because they're walking by as well. So we saw many of our national congressional members there.
Okay, Jared, I don't know if we have any more pictures. Is there any? Yep, there we go. A few more.
Yep. John James there, the congressman, was in committee and in a hearing, and definitely wanted to meet with us. So some of the timing was challenging, and he said nope. His staff came out and said the congressman will be right out, and he met with us. He had some wonderful questions about electric vehicles and stored energy, very much wanting to get into an engine house back home. And so we'll definitely be reaching out to our friends within his district in the fire service to get the congressman more into the fire service so he can continue to advocate for those national dollars. And
yeah, Tim, you're on his turf. He wants to get on your turf. That makes a lot of sense, though. And it's got to feel good that that our elected officials, I know that this is their job to do this, but it's got to feel good that they are there giving you time, caring about our first responders, and really doing everything they can to make sure that government in D.C. is doing what they need to do to help you get your job done back here at home.
It really is, Dave, and they're so approachable. And I think we get sometimes maybe some of that mis or disinformation through sound bites and questions sometimes taken out of context. So just to be able to sit one-on-one with them or one-on three and have a conversation that is authentic without anything more than an iPhone camera around, but not these news snippets. It really was helpful, and we're very appreciative on behalf of, and we were representing the fire chiefs across this great state. We were just three that were fortunate enough to make that trip, but to move the fire service in the great state of Michigan forward. So we're grateful for that time.
All right, well, very good that our own is representing our state, Greg Flynn. So good to see that. We got a couple more real quick pictures. Another beautiful picture of the Capitol Dome. So glad you had time to do a little sightseeing. We got another photograph here of your big dinner. Tell us about this before we wrap up.
So the Congressional Fire Service Institute, this was started a few decades ago and is really bringing the fire service, the National Fire Service, together in D.C. once a year. Steny Hoyer was one of the he's in the fire caucus, and he was one of our keynote speakers, and just the importance of coming together and having a unified voice to move initiatives forward. It makes it much easier for our congressional members to do that when the fire service speaks with one voice, and that's what CFSI is focused on.
Well, thank you for sharing the trip. Mr. Flynn goes to Washington, our segment here on Civic Center TV. Real quick before we go, we had a pretty significant fire in Farmington Hills a couple of days back, and it just was a great opportunity to see the cooperation that we have between our fire departments. When something major happens, each of our fire departments knows they're not on their own. You talk a little bit about that coordination and how you were able to come in and help Farmington Hills with their event, and then provide some much needed transportation and emergency services for some of the firemen on site.
The mutual aid is exactly what we refer to that as, Dave, and it is mutual. And we know that in our time of need, when we go back to the Heckman fire, who was right there helping us? Our friends from Farmington Hills. So we're continuing to refine that process, Dave, and make it nearly automatic, where there's not a delay whatsoever, and we're moving these resources to our neighbors just as quickly and efficiently as possible. And it's when times like when one of the firefighters may be injured or ill as a result of their duties, then we're right there ready to assist. And that's just what some of our medics did at that fire. And from my understanding from Chief Unruh, everybody is doing well in recovery and post fire. So
Good.
that's what we look for at the end of each one of these, and we're always happy to be a good neighbor.
All right, I always get email. I got 10 more seconds. Final question. People see you on Civic Center TV, and then they see those circles behind you. I know what they are, but could you tell people watching what that is on your desk back there?
Sure. So these are challenge coins. And for example, when I was in DC, I received this Washington CFSI challenge coin. So there's a military history with them that maybe another time we can go into, but they're definitely a way of remembrance and a way we show gratitude to folks so that they remember a significant event like CFSI.
Well, I just wanted to make sure people knew they were something really important and weren't those Keurig coffee cup containers that are about the same size and can be multicolored. So,
Dave, I took my precious moments figurines out and put these in. So
it's a great tribute to you, the fire department, and everything you guys do. Greg Flynn, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
all right. Cheers. Thanks, Dave.